D-E-P-E-N-D-E-N-T. Do you know what that means? She got her own house. She got her own car.
Welcome to Car Talk. I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Sabina. So in this episode 12, we're going to be, we called it, or I call it, Strong Independent Woman Syndrome. And basically, we're going to be talking about the syndrome that I made up.
Yes.
So
Sabina's diagnosis.
So again, we're not doctors. You know, it was just something that I thought about. And this started, like, I want to say, probably when I was like 23 years old. I started.
Like, this is when you felt like you had the syndrome?
Yes, I did. That's when I actually started reflecting on myself and then realizing a lot of things that weren't working for me and why it wasn't working for me and why a relationship didn't work out for me. And this had a lot to do with it.
Okay.
So first off, like, a syndrome is just a pattern of symptoms, of concurrent things such as emotions or actions that usually form an identifiable pattern. And sometimes you can use this in a figurative way to describe like a behavior. So when you hear me say like, oh, strong independent woman syndrome, what do you think about?
I just think that, like, you're a strong, independent woman, that you don't need nobody, and so it's probably hard for you to let others help you with things, and, like, especially, like, partners, or, like, probably it's hard to trust people to come through for you because you've had to do it, I'm assuming, the majority of your life.
Yeah,
correct?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, you know, yeah, you're good. You're on point.
Yes.
So first off, like, how does one start feeling or experiencing the symptoms?
Well, I think, like anything, everything comes from our childhood, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like you can start off, like, I guess you have to be that in situations and families where you have like siblings.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like one way is you start to be the parent.
Yeah.
You start parenting your siblings because your parents are absent, whether it's because they're working full time or you have a single parent, because
Or they have other issues as far as like alcoholism or drugs.
That's
so
true
they
too.
keeps them from parenting.
Yeah. So you
kind of step in.
So as a sibling, you take charge, basically.
Right.
You're now the
Yeah.
parent, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're basically the authority, figure in the household.
Right.
So like when I grew up, that wasn't something necessarily like I had to deal with. I didn't have to parent my siblings. They
me
would
either.
look to me as, oh, mom,
Mm-hmm. They referred to her as daddy. Just kidding.
So I feel like that was one thing that I didn't have to do. Like, I wasn't in charge.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I was in charge of the house or whatever, so everybody had to listen to me. I'm the boss. But not in the sense,
Not in
where
like a parenting way.
Yes, no,
Yeah.
I didn't, because we were all like not even that far apart. So
Yeah.
we were always fighting who's in charge and who's the boss.
Yeah.
But the other one, okay, so basically I grew up, I'll talk about it. My mom actually was a single parent. Yeah, so my mom was young. She had me like when she was 17, and then she had my sister right afterwards, like a year later. And so she was always a single mom. My dad left when we were 3, basically. That's when I kind of like, he was in and out and everything. So everything that she did was by herself.
Yeah.
And as we got older, she ended up meeting my stepdad. But, along my childhood, my mom used to always tell me, like, don't ever depend on people. Don't ever, make sure that you have your own things. Make sure, this. So that was always engraved. She always told me. And also, too, not only did she say those words, but she also lived by it in a sense, when she wasn't, with my stepdad, because they eventually split, she was on her own again. You know what I mean? So she lived by those actions. Well, she lived by those words through her actions. So
Yeah.
that was something that, like, so for me growing up and becoming an adult, like, you don't ever want to have to depend on somebody. But hey, like, sometimes you allow yourself to trust somebody and, it goes sideways,
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you have kids, you don't want to make that same mistake again, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, of course.
Because, yeah.
I think it was more like, even more so, like, my mom always told me too, like, if you're going to be with somebody, she's like, always have a backup plan.
Yeah.
Put that money away.
Yeah, and I think mine semi-similar. When I was growing up, my parents divorced too when I was 7. So my mom she had us full time. So, and I'd see my dad every other weekend. So my mom was basically a single parent all the time. So, and he was the breadwinner. So when they divorced, it was really hard for her. We struggled a lot financially, and that showed me. I don't even think she had to tell me. It just showed me that, you can't depend on somebody well, you can, but it's risky. It's risky because if you're with someone that brings home all the money and they don't want to be with you anymore, they divorce you, then you're going to struggle a lot, especially if you don't have the work history or to gain a good employment and to make a good salary for you and your kids. And my mom had me and my sister, so we struggled a lot financially. So that just showed me, like, growing up, that I wasn't going to do that. Like, I was going to make my own money. I was never going to depend on someone financially because I did not want my kids to grow up the way that me and my sister grew up that way. So
yeah, that's good. Another reason, or another way like these symptoms can start is having a job at a young age to support either yourself or your family.
Yep.
Like, and I know for a fact that you always, back in my day,
I had a job when I was 15.
Yeah, Steph always, talks about that. Like, oh, I started work at 7. What'd you say? 15? 15. She had her own car. She was one of those cool kids that got to, like, to me, that's a cool kid. If you were 15 driving to school in your hoopty doopty, like, you're fucking cool as fuck. You're independent.
But to me, that's a good representation of how, like, okay, because based on my observation, I was compared to all my friends, I was the kid with the less money. Like, it was pretty obvious to me, that most of my friends grew up in houses. Most of their parents had cars. My mom had a car in and out. Like, we sometimes didn't have cars. I rode the bus a lot. So, like, for me, it was interesting to see that, like, I was the first one to get a job out of my friends. I was the first one to get a car. I was the first one. And it's because I kind of had to, like, and like my friends, they didn't have to, like, their parents drove them around. They didn't need extra income. I'm sure their parents gave them money here and there. My mom couldn't afford to do that. So if I wanted some money, I needed to get a job. So it's just interesting how some situations make people grow a little faster than others.
And I agree. Like, they're like, I didn't have that. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I rode the bus, but I didn't try to go get a job. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't important enough, or I felt like I didn't have to do that right there in that moment. My mom didn't give us money. Like, she didn't, we grew up, I hate saying it, but I don't feel like we're poor because we still have a house over our, there's food, sometimes. So my mom's gonna knock me out after this.
Boom! She comes in right now. When did you eat? Boom, boom, boom.
Let me have you remember.
Boom, boom,
yeah. Boom. Yeah, like, remember now?
Shit.
No, so.
You don't look like you're starving to me. Just kidding. Sorry. Sorry, we're gonna take a moment to gather ourselves.
Damn, right there. Quit trying to make it seem like I didn't fucking feed you.
Yeah, you're such a victim, huh?
Dang, lady. So, anyways, I didn't have to do that. I mean, I didn't start driving till I was 18. And even then, that was like a fight with my mom. See, this is why I
got my license at 16.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm trying to get my brother to get his.
Yeah.
Anyways, so that's basically like the childhood portion of it, watching, our family go through those changes, being the parent of our siblings, having to support ourselves at a young age and the family, you know what I mean? Because for you, it wasn't so much as you got this job to support your family, right? Or was it?
No, it wasn't. I mean, I helped, like, for sure, like, especially like after the age of 18. But before that, I helped. Yeah, I would still give my parents money. Like, I would. It wasn't, I don't know. It was never a big deal to me, though. It just seemed, I don't know.
And I could say that,
I should do.
Yeah, and I can say that you basically had like, you were basically like the majority of support for yourself, right?
As I got older, yeah, like 18, 19, yeah, for sure.
And so the next one I was, the next reason for me was just, becoming a young parent. That was something my mom had to do. That's something that, I saw firsthand.
Yeah.
And being a single parent at that, you create some of these symptoms. And for me personally, like, I relate to that. I was a young parent at 19.
Yeah,
so for me, yeah. So barely like 18, barely an adult,
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, once you become a parent, you have a lot more responsibilities. You have to make those sound decisions for the sake of your child. You're now I guess you could say you're always an authority figure, right? But I feel like as a parent, you're not only like, it's not just you anymore. It's your kid now. So that's that's a responsibility in itself,
Yeah.
And the next one I have is where your symptoms can start is leaving a relationship where you were dependent on someone else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like if it didn't stem from childhood, then it stems from like a relationship you had.
Yes.
Like a serious one.
Yeah, I agree. Because I mean, before, like, I didn't grow up, so mine didn't stem from my childhood necessarily. I mean, I observed it,
Right.
but it wasn't.
But it didn't
something,
affect you to have to do.
Yes,
it
right?
affected your mom, and you kind of learned from there.
Yeah,
Learned from her.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then for me, it's like, okay, like, I mean, when I first had my son, like, I was dependent on him financially. Like, I was going to school, he worked, you know, I was able to, like,
I mean, your baby daddy.
Yeah, baby daddy. So for him, it was just like, you know, after, we'll get into that later, but that's basically it. You're leaving a relationship, you were dependent on someone. You have a lot of times, like, you know, you have a lot of housewives or stay-at-home moms, you know, not necessarily married, but you're there, like, and so you're leaving that relationship because, you know, you're probably feeling like a single parent and you're not getting what you need. You know what I mean? The help's not there, like maybe emotionally or for whatever reason, or even physically sometimes, you know?
Yeah, and I think that I seen that from my mom as well, because after my dad, she was never with anybody. Like, and I really truly think it's because she didn't depend on anybody. She didn't trust them, especially since, like, she had 2 children. Like, it was just hard for her to trust people with that. So she just felt like, you know what, I'll just do it myself. Like, I just got to do it myself.
Yeah, that's true. And then it's the feeling of being a single parent within the relationship. I think that's where your symptoms can start too. Yeah. Like, you can be in a relationship with somebody, a partnership,
and then not do shit.
Yeah, you know, or you take a majority of the responsibilities and then you get tired of it. So your symptoms can start there, you know?
So do you think that's just as traumatic or more traumatic for like a single parent, a true single parent, rather than more of a neglectful one? You know what I'm saying? You know,
I feel like when we start off with the symptoms, I feel like it's not so much as which one is worse. We're just like a starting point where these develop.
You're right.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if we're talking about single people and single parents, there's like a complete difference. Like, like for you, what does it mean to be a single parent?
Oh, you're all alone. You have to financially provide and still take care of them, cook, clean, buy them clothes, wash their clothes. Like, everything's on your own. There's no other parent in sight.
Yeah, and that's true.
Invisibly sight.
Yeah, and I agree. Like, you have to be financially independent. And one of my friends, I fucking can't stand him.
Okay.
He goes, because he's like, oh, so what do you think about this woman that I was dating, right? And I was like, she was cool. Like, I liked her. She was fun and everything. And me and Brian, I'm just gonna say his name. Me and Brian used to always say, like, who you date is who I'm dating, basically, right? Like a benefit, right?
Yeah.
And so, I was like, well, I really like her. She's really cool. You know, she's strong, independent woman. He's like, independent, you know, she's on Section 8 and she's on food stamps. And I was just like,
dang.
Like, I said, look, she had a job. And so a majority of her income is coming in from work. I said, the government doesn't count. She's still taking care of the kids and she's still taking care of what she needs to do for the kids. I don't consider that. Like, she's still independent. It doesn't matter.
You're still figuring it out.
Yeah,
you still figured it out. You're still getting that shit done.
So to me, that was like, I was like, get out of here. You're just butthurt because, you know, it didn't work out.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. But that's a lot of people's views, I think, too.
Yeah, so that's for me, a single parent, you know, and I just think that it's just people who don't have partners, married or not, you know, you are considered a single parent. But if you're with somebody, I think that, like, you're not a single parent. Like, you're not a single mom.
Yeah, I don't think fully. I think it may feel that way, but not fully, because whether they watch them for, you know, and just sit there and don't really help with anything else, but they're still watching them, you know, that's help that real single parents don't have.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing. Like, okay, so I called up my friend Jemin, and I was like, hey, so what do you think about single moms? Women that are with people and then say, oh, well, I'm a single mom. And she's like, honestly, like, how she sound like her.
Honestly?
No, not that, Jasmine.
I like how you knew what I was talking about, dude.
No, not that one. No, this other Jemin.
Okay, my bad. Dude, that was funny. I like how you knew by the voice. All right.
Okay.
Cool.
So cool. Jemin was like, she's like, you're gonna know exactly which one. This is what she said. She's like, honestly, she's like, I think that's total disrespect to the real single moms. She's like, because literally I was like, okay, how so? She's like, because a single mom can be at home and something could happen to her and there's nobody in the house.
Yeah.
There's nobody in the house.
Yeah.
But she's like, if you have a partner, like there's somebody there. There's always going to be somebody there.
At least bare minimum when there's an emergency. Because I think single moms also too struggle with anxiety. Because like they're always worrying about what if this happens, or what if something happens to me? There's going to be no one there for my kids. Like, but at least people who just have like partners that are lacking in areas, if like something happens to them, and they at least have that to fall back on. Like true single parents, like they're just like, well, shit, like my kids are going to have nobody.
Yeah, and I think I called up another friend too, and we were talking about single mom. She's like, well, I felt like a single mom, and I was like, okay, here we go, single mom revolution right now, right? Mm-hmm. And she was, married. She was with, her husband, and there was times where he was gone because of the job and everything like that.
Yeah,
and
I can see that.
I can see you feeling like a single parent, because there's a big difference between feeling like a single parent and actually being a single parent. I'm not saying like, to me, like,
but the same effects might happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. Similar to effects.
Yes. Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think like, I feel like you take away from those single moms that are actually single. I understand that there are some moms that feel like they take on a majority of the responsibilities, but at the end of the day, you kind of enable that. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're not setting aside for expectations.
Because regardless, like most absent other parents that don't really pull their weight, they're at least like paying half the bills or
they're watching the kids.
They're doing something. Like it's bare minimum, but it's something.
Yeah, and
changing a diaper, doing something.
You know what I mean? I just I don't feel like you're a single mom. I mean, I had this friend, and she was married, and she was like, I'm just a single mom because she was taking the kids all the time to sporting events and doing all these things. And I'm just like, you're not a single mom, dude. You have a husband that's there. And if he's not doing or pulling his weight in the way that you need to get on that ass. And if not, then leave him. Leave him and truly live that life of being a single
because
mom.
To me, if you're already living that life, then there's no need for your partner to be there.
Exactly.
So if you're a single mom already, then be a single mom.
Yeah, you should have no problem, because if it's not going to affect you as much because you're already used to living that quote unquote lifestyle of being a single mom and whatever. I get it. It's easy.
And then you're really going to find out.
Yeah, you're really going to, I know you're going to be thankful for that little bit of help, but I mean, nothing's worth your peace. So if there's issues in the house and everything like that, obviously like it's not worth the peace. Mm-hmm. So the first part of the syndrome is the strong. So what does it mean to be strong? And my Chinita friend made it really
you're so funny, dude.
she's gonna be like, I'm not Chinita. I think she's Korean, but she said this, and I go, hey, you're one of, she doesn't have kids, right, but to me, I feel like she's a strong, independent woman. She suffers under the syndrome. Yeah,
because you don't have to have kids to have this syndrome.
No, you don't.
Like, it's just, these are just one of the effects where it could come from,
So she gave me something, and then I kind of mixed it and upgraded it. But she said, what it means to be strong, meaning, one possessing self-confidence, resilience, the ability to make decisions and take care of oneself, pursuing personal goals, embracing individuality, and maintaining a sense of empowerment in various aspects of life, including career and relationships. Despite the hardships, it's overcoming the obstacles and barriers. It's the way of displaying self-sufficiency, assertiveness, and the ability to navigate challenges effectively.
This came out of the Sabina dictionary.
No, it didn't. She actually
she said that.
She wrote that, and then I added in my own stuff and then
everything
like that. And I was like,
yeah,
wow,
I like
that.
That was good.
Said. I was like, good. I couldn't even. I was like, I can't even. I mean, there was nowhere to go without that. But that's basically what it means to be strong. Like,
to me, I think like, that strong is it. That was a good definition. It's like I'm gonna do what I want to do in a positive way, regardless of who's around. Mm-hmm. If I have a goal, I'm gonna reach that goal regardless of who's around.
I like that. And I feel like my thing, the majority of your strength and being strong is you can't. I'm gonna say this again. You can't have the mindset of you are only a someone when you have a someone. And I think that's not everybody, sorry. There's one person that comes to mind. I'm just like,
it's some people's mentality.
People like, I need someone to be someone.
Yeah, they feel like you know.
I need to be strong, but how I'm strong is by being with somebody. You know
But
what
I
mean?
honestly think it's because they define their worthiness by who they're with.
And
Like,
you
you know,
define
and
your own
you
worthiness.
you just, yeah, exactly.
That's what makes you a strong person. You
Uh-huh.
define it. You don't allow people around you to define it. You don't allow your partner to define it. Like, you define it yourself. And
yes. And honestly, too, like, I think some people need other people to motivate them and to inspire them and to, like, you know, cheer them on kind of thing. And I think where the strong people are is we don't need that. Like, we motivate ourselves. Like, we cheer ourselves on.
And that
like,
strength,
you know?
yeah, and that strength comes within, you know?
Yeah.
It's not something
It's
that,
confidence. Like
yeah.
you said in the definition, it is. It's being confident in yourself that you can do anything. It doesn't matter who you're with or who you're not with.
You're going to do what you got to do at the end of the day,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
So, and we're not saying like, and I don't know if you agree, but we're not saying dependency is bad, because it sounds like we are kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's not. No, I think it's natural, to be honest, because I think eventually, like, everyone wants to be able to depend on somebody, you know, because it just makes life more kumbaya, you know?
Yeah, I agree to a certain extent.
Uh-huh.
If you ask me right now, hey, do you want to rely on something? No. No. No, thank you.
But you want to be able to.
I would like.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. You want to be able to.
Okay, so let me tell you this. I would like to be able to depend on a partner. That's not something I'm looking for right now.
Yes,
but
that's
if I'm choosing to be with somebody, I would.
You
like
want
to
be able to depend on that person if you're with them. If you're with them,
of
yeah,
course.
Yes.
And, yeah, we'll go into that. So, so it's just, we're not saying dependency is bad, but experiences can make you cautious, right?
Yes,
I said. And so when we talk about independence, it's like, do I need to say more? Like, you're basically alone, right? You're not depending on anybody. You can't have,
or even if you are depending on them, if they fall through, it's okay. You still got it, kind of thing. Like, you know,
I think that's a sense of independence. Like, because for me personally, you can't have independence with a partner. That is no, you can't have.
Really?
No, I can't.
You can't be independent when
you
you're
can't
with somebody.
Nope. You know why? Because there's no I in team.
Yeah, but can't you both be independent partners together? Like, you guys have your individuality, your independence.
No, that's different. Individuality is different, right?
Mm-hmm.
But your independence.
So you think you can only be independent by yourself?
Yes.
An independent woman.
Yeah.
So you can't be an independent woman with somebody.
No, you can't. I think, and I'll explain
interesting.
why.
If CT listeners out there, do you agree with that statement? I don't know if I do. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. I'm going to be thinking about it. But so if someone else has to chime in on that, can you be independent with a partner?
No, you can't.
Okay.
You live together.
Okay.
If you're living together, like you can't. Like, you're in a relationship, you can work independently.
Mm-hmm.
That's different between like independence, because you basically have to have trust there, right? And the dependency is present. Like, for me personally, okay, like I'll tell a story, whatever, where it created a problem, right?
Yes.
So this is where I first realized that, oh my God, I suffer under strong independent woman syndrome, right?
Yes.
This is where it creates a problem.
Yes, that could also be a downfall of having the syndrome.
Yeah, no, it can be, because this is where I'm telling you, like, you can't be independent in a relationship.
I get what you're saying. Okay, I get what you're saying.
Your partner is there to
help
matter.
You. They matter.
They matter.
Yeah.
Their opinion. Your partner wants to help you.
Yeah, you even have. Yeah, you're right. Okay, I get what you're saying.
If they're taking care of the house, that's dependency.
Or even if they're gonna, or even if you're gonna do something, like make a decision, you confide in your partner, you know, because that's just respect. Like, hey, I want to buy this car, or hey, I want to do this.
Right?
You're giving them their input. True independency, I guess you would just do it.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Boom. There's no consideration for anybody.
Yes.
So
okay. All right.
Where it becomes like an issue is, for me personally, like, I dated I want to say my first boyfriend after my son's dad.
Mm-hmm.
And because of this, it had been 2 years since I was single, seeing nobody else, whatever, right? Great guy. And he did everything. He cooked, he cleaned, he worked. Like, he was amazing with my son. So for me, the issue there was that I was too independent. I wanted to do everything myself. I didn't want him to help me in the ways that he wanted to help me. So it created issues for me. You know, it was like, why aren't you letting me do this? Why aren't you letting me do that? Like, we were a team, basically. And I was like, no, I got it. No, I don't need you. So having that feeling of like, I don't need you, I don't want you kind of thing, that creates a problem in itself. So that whole sense of independence, like, no, I can do everything myself. I don't need you.
But do you feel like just because you don't feel like you need someone, that you can still want them. Like, yes, I don't need you, but I want you. Because I don't feel like I need anybody, but I want them. Like, but that's not saying like I would, you know what, you trying to get what I'm saying?
No, keep going.
It's like why, okay, so like for instance, you're this boyfriend that you're talking about. Like, okay, yeah, you don't need him. You didn't need him. But like, did you not want him? Like, oh, I don't need you to do that, but thank you. Like, yeah, I want you to do that.
No, I didn't want him to do anything, Steph.
Oh, okay.
I'm like,
but I do feel like you
care.
could. I do feel like you could need someone though. I mean, I do feel like you could want someone but not need them.
I think when I go back and I reflect on that, I think of the person I was, and so talking about that, I become that person of that mindset. So when I'm talking about it, it's like, no, I don't need you to do this. If you want to do that, that's fine. But like, I don't need you to do that. I don't.
Yeah,
need
exactly.
But oh well, hey, can we go? No, don't want to. Like, I'm in charge.
But I think it's just the perception you make in your head that makes you do that, makes you feel that way as well, though. Because yeah, we don't need them to do that. But is it nice? Do we want it? Yeah.
I felt like the kind of attitude that I had was very ungrateful and unappreciative for the things that he did.
Yeah, because you were in the mindset of, I don't need you. And you felt that if he did that for you, you felt like he felt that you needed him. And you didn't want him to feel that way.
That's true. And I could...
Yeah, this is a part of the syndrome.
Yeah, this is. Because you're talking about me coming from my high school sweetheart at 15, depending on him... You know, and after him getting two jobs,
your trust, and then he broke your trust, and then you had to do things on your own. Two
jobs. So when I met my boyfriend, I had 2 jobs getting paid every single week. Oh, I loved it. Yeah. Full-time student and everything. So I was already, I'm independent. I don't need you. Like, you have that attitude.
Yeah, you get that. Yeah, exactly.
I don't need you. Like, it's just whatever, you know? But that
attitude stemmed from your previous relationship.
Exactly. I became somebody else because of those experiences. Yes. I became somebody else. And it wasn't somebody that I was proud of. Like, I could have been better. You know what I mean? It was a learning lesson for me that just because I'm independent, you know, and I've overcame things, I'm strong, doesn't mean that I should be acting this way. But it's how these symptoms can be just take a hold of you and create just a new person based on those experiences. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So I feel like obtaining independence is hard for some people. There's a lot of obstacles. And it's basically like what you're doing when you're trying to obtain independence is you're attempting to find consistency in every aspect of your life, you know, without the dependency of others.
Yeah.
So you're basically like the sole and only provider, right?
Yeah.
So that's my thing. That's my take on independence right there.
Yeah, I do think though, like if you don't have an even balance with that, like you can't ever depend on somebody. This is where the downfall is. I think that can create like loneliness, you know, because you're never vulnerable with anybody in a sense, you know?
Yeah, that's true. No, I agree. And I think that, you know, we kind of touch bases on some of the issues that can arise from these symptoms, you know? I mean, hearing my story, like, what can you assume? Like, dang, like how you were, how I sounded, the tone of my voice, like, dang, like I was a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Yes, you were. But I think there's a difference. I think that some of these issues that arise without kids, it's a good thing. You know what I mean? Because you're able to you have no consideration, you know, you're not going to stick around. I mean, what's your excuse? You have no kids.
Yeah, exactly. If you're not getting, like in a relationship wise, like if you're not getting what you need, then yeah, deuces.
Yeah.
You know?
And then with kids, I think there's a lot of issues. Like you said before, like it's like trusting somebody else to come in when you have kids. Like that's not easy. Yeah. And especially because you've been so strong and independent, like, no, I'm not going to let
you don't want to go back to that because then if it happens, you're going to be very upset with yourself for letting that happen, especially. And I just think with kids, you are more cautious. Like if it was just yourself, then yeah, maybe you would give it another chance. Like, okay, maybe let's try it again with someone else. But I just feel like once kids are involved, you become way more aware and way more like a wall is up because you don't want that. You don't want it to affect your kids. It's not just about you anymore. It's about your kids.
That's true. And then also too, you have that never again attitude.
Exactly. That's what
yeah. It's like never again, never again. But that becomes toxic too, because then you don't let anybody in. And sometimes I feel like your experiences, friends and relationships, never again will I depend on a friend. You know what I mean?
Never again will I share that secret.
Yeah.
Never again will I,
Yeah. So that's true. Like, I just feel like you have that never again attitude. That's where it can lead to, you know? And I feel like sometimes, you know, we create these standards and expectations to the extent where people are chasing their ideal man.
Yeah, our partner.
Yeah, I knew you were going to say our partner.
Partner. Maybe Sabina's looking for a man, so I don't know. She's speaking for herself.
No, but I feel like for a majority of the times, like women, like not, putting aside, like women are looking for the ideal man. Like I came from a bum, dude, not necessarily like, but he didn't really do shit and didn't have anything to offer, you know?
Yeah.
And now like you're looking for the ideal man, and I'm making sure I'm not going to be settling with this. And I'm making sure, look.
Yeah. And then you have a lot more red flags like, oh, nope, deal breaker.
Yeah.
Like, I was with a drunk before, so nope, he likes to drink beer. So nope, not him, even if it's not that extensive like that, you just
straight, you find anything to knock somebody down. You know what I mean? You try to find an ick. So, I mean, I think that's the point of it. I mean, I think it's a good thing, right?
I think it's a good thing. I think it's just you're being more protective of yourself, but at the end of the day, like
don't
you said,
too much.
That's what I'm going to say. That's what I was going to say. It could be a downfall. This is a part of the downfall too. Is you create these unrealistic expectations of somebody,
and these standards. I mean, not everybody's going to have everything that you're looking for. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying to settle.
Hell no.
Like, don't settle. But I think we end up trying to say no to everything and try to compartmentalize for the sake of ourselves and our kids, like you said.
I think we just have to choose what is most important to us. And if they have those qualities, then maybe where they're lacking in other areas won't matter as much. Yeah. I think everyone has importance, like important qualities that they're looking in for someone. And if they don't have them, it's a no. It's a no break. It's a deal breaker. But sometimes it's, I would like them to be this, but they're not. But you know what? That's not that big of a deal. It's just, I would want like that, but it's not that big of a deal.
No, I agree. And I look at myself now and I can say that I can manage my symptoms, appropriately. Like when we talk about this strong, independent woman syndrome, once you got it, that's it. It never leaves you. It never leaves you.
Really?
You just learn to manage it. Yeah, because somewhere inside you, there's still going to be that strong. I overcame this. I put myself in this position. Like, for example, like for us, I mean, I thought I would never depend on somebody ever again. And I did it. And I did it. And I was like, because after my son said, I was like, never again. Strong, independent, full on, never, ever, right? Even like became a breadwinner in a relationship, and I was just like, nope, don't worry about it. Mommy got it,
Yeah.
But
it's because again, like I said, it's just because you don't need to. You want it. You want to be able to depend. Like that's why you did. That's why you did.
And I was like, are you
that.
sure? I was like, are you sure? Like before I became dependent, not even dependent. I was still paying.
Not even dependent.
You know what? I think what I did was, it's not so much I was dependent on her because I was still paying the same amount of bills. It was just the fact that like I was going to be able to have that time frame to finish my degree.
To focus on yourself.
Yes. And of course, like to me, it was still like I didn't have my career. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that was a big learning lesson. I was like, dang, I thought nobody could ever make me feel like I could depend on them ever again. Right. And I was like skeptical, but there was pressure and pushing. No, like you got, like, it's okay. Don't worry about it. This and that. And I was like, are you sure? Are you sure? Because at the end of the day, I got to think about my kid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that was like the biggest, like, all right, well, she showed me like I could trust her. Hey, I got this house for us. I'm doing these things. And I'm just like, oh, Lord Jesus.
And I think that's what I'm trying to say about wanting to depend on someone. It's like, you might got it yourself, but you just want to know that if something happens, because anything can happen. Like anything can happen where you need some help from somebody, and you just want to know it. You just want to feel secure in your relationship, that that if you need to depend on them more so than before, that you could. And so I think, like for me in my last relationship, it was more like of a test. Like I want to see if I could depend on you, because I know you feel like you could depend on me because you can, but I want that equal feeling.
Yeah.
I want to feel like I could depend on you too, because I know I'm the shit, but everyone has, but again, everyone has their days. Everyone has like, I wanted to work on myself too. I wanted to finish school. I wanted to do things to do what I really wanted to do. And I depended on her too. And hey, we're going to have to split more bills. You're going to have to do this and that. And at the end of the day, she couldn't come through with it. She did not come through with it. And at the end of the day, we did end up breaking up. Was that all that? Why? But no, but it had a big reason for me as to why, because I don't like that. I don't like one-sided. If I give you my support, if I give you my dedication and you can depend on me, then I want that too. I want that feeling too. Not that I'm going to use it. Not that I'm going to say, oh, okay, so you can do this. And so, yeah, let's split this, or, hey, you pay this now and blah, blah, blah. No, it's just, I want to know if it's there that, okay, cool. Like, you know, it takes the burden off your shoulders, because what's a partnership if you can't have that? Yeah. I might as well be by myself.
Exactly. And I think a lot of that was on her part, dependency on you.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And that's why it was a test, because what comes after, like, just being together, kids, more responsibilities and stuff like that. And I would want my kids to, I would want to be with someone that I have kids with, that I know if I die, if I leave, that they're going to be okay, because I depend on my partner, and I know because I've seen it. So my kids are good. You know?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think both our experiences were very different, you know, and to the extent of dependency. And I don't think mine was so much as a test to see it, because it wasn't a test to me. It was like, okay, all right, you know?
I say a test because I knew that if she couldn't come through, I would still be okay. Like, I would still figure it out.
Oh,
you
yeah,
know what
definitely.
I mean? That's why I say a test. It's not like, because I feel like if it wasn't a test, I would have fucked myself. Like, not have a backup plan. If I didn't have a backup plan, or like, okay, if she really doesn't come through, then I could do this. And I did.
And I think, like, even after that, you know, relationship, you know, ended for me, like, I still finished my degree.
That's what I'm saying.
I still accomplished what I needed to accomplish. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So to me, it was like, okay, this didn't work out, and I was dependent on you to a certain extent there. I still accomplished what I needed to do. And because I've already, like, overcome so many motherfucking obstacles.
That was nothing.
I'm still here. And so I don't feel like this syndrome ever leaves. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Because you're more cautious, because, like I said, yes, I gave her that opportunity to show me that, but at the end of the day, I still had a backup plan. So you're right. That syndrome didn't go away.
No, it didn't, because at the end of the day,
I wouldn't have been prepared.
But this is the thing. You got to think about your strength. You've already overcome so many things. You start off at a young age. You've already know what it's like to start from the bottom and to be redirected and, like, get up again. Like, to me, that's why I think, like, for me personally, I'm just like, this is nothing.
Yeah,
this is nothing. I've already overcome so many things as a woman, as a mother, you know, as a girlfriend, that this is nothing compared to me, girl. You didn't break me.
Yeah.
You didn't break me.
It's unfortunate for you. but yeah.
No, I mean, so for me personally, I just think that you have to always self-reflect over things, and, you know, being a strong, independent woman, you know, it never leaves you. You know what I mean? You can depend on people, but you're always going to have that somewhere deep down inside waiting to come out. Just learn I've learned just to manage it a nicer way. Like, no, don't pay for my stuff. You know, I'm not that type of person. I like to pay for people's stuff. I like to pay for my friends' stuff. That's just me, you know? Don't worry, girl, I got it. Like, it's nothing big. Like, like, you know, consider just like, you got me, I got you. That's how I want it with all my relationships, all my friendships, you know? That's just me. Even when I go out with my friends or whatever, or like me and you, like, that's like, in a sense, like independency too, but you're not depending on me to pay for the tab or whatever. It's just, I'm choosing to be able to do that because I want to treat you, you know?
Right.
But, I just don't think that the symptoms ever go away. I just think you learn how to manage them better and just be more, I guess you could say, self-aware about things, you know? Just don't let it,
I think this could be a good thing, like a positive thing to have. And also, especially if you learn how to maintain it, like you said, because there are a lot of downfalls, like you said, from it. But if you learn how to manage it, it could be a good thing, because now you're always prepared, you know, for whatever happens, and you don't depend on people so much in a sense that, like, if they don't come through, that your life is ruined, or it's a big downfall for you. It's not
into a whirling world of depression.
It's just like, okay, so that didn't work out, so now I got to do this. Like, it's more just redirecting now, instead of it being like, fuck, I'm fucked, like, blah 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 blah, you know?
Yeah. And I feel like, just, I guess, a message to those who are, like, trying to gain independence and trying to, you know, be better at handling things and creating that strength within themselves. Like, it's hard. We all know, we were all there. You know what I mean? So, you're going to figure it out. You just got to keep going. You can't stay stuck in that situation feeling like nothing's ever going to get better, because guess what? Nothing is ever going to get better.
Yes, exactly. If you have that mindset, it's all about your mindset. It's if you're telling yourself, oh, I'm fucked, oh shit, I'm nothing without them, or why did they do this to me? Then yeah, you're going to be stuck in there a lot longer than someone's like, all right, this happened. Okay, I'm going to do this. Like, it's going to be all right. I don't need them. I got this. Like, you know, I'm still going to be good. I'm still going to be okay. It's at the end of the day, it's all about your mindset.
I agree. So with that said, to all the strong, independent women out there, I love you.
This goes out to you.
Keep doing your thing. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
All right. Well, thank you for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe.
Stay tuned.
She walk like a boss, talk like a boss, manicure and nails, just like the pedicure off.